Hi there, welcome to the program. I'm Bill Hitchcock. It is Monday, September 29th, and don't have to worry about a hurricane hitting us. But we do have stuff to talk about because we are going to be affected about the hurricane. But with that said, this past weekend we had a day or two of some fantastic, believe it or not, billfish fishing, blue marlin, sailfish, lots of wahoo being caught, king mackerel. I called it a blitz last time. The king mackerel activity is still great. Spanish mackerel, big drum, won't be lasting around too much longer, and albacore. All that has been going on over this past weekend, but we are going to have a change in the weather, so to speak. Last week I gave a forewarning about this week that the effects of the hurricanes are going to make it very windy along the coast of North Carolina, and it's going to be. And what I'd like to do right now, before we get into the fishing report and some other things, is go to the Satfish information, the satellite information about winds, and we're going to show you the winds right now and the projected winds all this coming week along the coast of North Carolina. All right, time to take a look at the Satfish, the satellite fishing technology current winds and projected winds. This is what I've been talking about since last week. Not so much as the hurricane itself making landfall, but the actual winds for days afterwards. All right, this is Monday morning when I'm taking a look at this imagery. You can see here in the Pamlico Sound, it's around 13, 14 knots. Down here southerly, it's about 20 knots. But take a look at what happens tomorrow. This is forecasted winds. All of a sudden, boom, look at that. Winds increasing offshore here. We got 23, 25 knot winds. Pamlico Sound, 24, 25 knot winds. Down here, Cape Fear, 20 knot winds. Wednesday. This is Wednesday's wind projections. Oh boy, it's still pretty tough. 30 knot winds. Pamlico Sound, 30 knot winds. Hatteras, same thing down here in the Crystal Coast area, 25, 30 knot winds. Cape Fear area, it's a little bit lighter. Let's take a look at Thursday projected winds. It is still, these winds are dominant out of the northeast. You can still see offshore here coming this Thursday. And by the way, the timeline, you can see the timeline down here. This coming Thursday is still going to be tough. I mean, the Outer Banks is getting 20, 25 knot winds. You can see where it converges down here in the Crystal Coast area, 20, 25 knot winds. Same thing, Cape Fear. Friday. Looks like Friday, though, is when we're going to start getting a quote-unquote break in the action. You can see still offshore 18, 20 knot winds in Pamlico Sound, 15, 20 knot winds. Same thing here along the Crystal Coast. So this is what I've been talking about since last week. It's not so much worrying about the hurricane itself, but the effects thereof afterwards all this week. So it does look like it's going to be very, very windy. Let's take a look at the sea surface temperatures. This is the 3-day composite. Oh, let me show you why I do the 3-day composite. You see, this is the clouds. The 3-day composite is to get rid of the cloud interference. So let's go back to the 3-day composite. This is what has changed here. It has still along the northern Outer Banks to about the point of Hatteras. It's still around that 74, 75 degrees. But look here in the backwaters. It has warmed up where it was 73, 72, 74 degrees. We got pockets or areas, not just pockets, 78, 79 degrees up here in the Albemarle. You can see here in the, let's zoom on in here a little bit. You can see up here going in the Noosh River area, up in here, Pamlico River, 79, 80 degrees. It's warm back up. You work on down here. Let me pull back out. In the Cape Lookout area is where it starts warming back up to 79, 79, 78 degrees. Overall, it's warmed up about 2 to 4 degrees just since last week. Look here. Let me zoom back in here. This has been the hot spot. You can see here right outside of the Cape Fear River, almost 83 degrees. The Gulf Stream itself, we got 84, 85 degrees. But as we just showed you with the winds, we're going to be dominated by a northerly wind. Watch for all of this to cool back down. And I think this time when we have the cool down, it's going to stay cool down because it is that time of year. I'd like to thank Satfish, the satellite fishing technology people, for supplying us this information. This satellite information comes in both in real time and projected. It's an invaluable tool. And by the way, it's not just up the coast of North Carolina. They got this type of information in a lot of places here in the U.S. So go to their website, satfish.com, satfish.com. The water's warmed up tremendously. It's going to cool down tremendously with a week's worth of northerly winds. It's going to be kind of blowy. Expect some gale force winds in a lot of places, so we will see what's going on. Before I get into the fishing report, I just got to show this to you. By the way, the only premise of the show is that it has to be saltwater related. That's really the only premise of the show. Soon we'll be doing seafood cooking, some other things, and send in your requests, whatever you want. But I wanted to show this to you. Take a look at this map. It's called a plat map. That is Cape Lookout. If you're going, wait a minute, it's subdivided? Yipper. They're going to sell lots and build houses. That was the intent. That map is actually from 1913. Yeah, over 100 years ago, they subdivided Cape Lookout out there at the lighthouse, and we're going to sell off properties. And two things I wanted to bring up. One, just 20 years prior to that, out at Diamond City, which is at the end of Shackelford Banks, which was connected to Core Banks, everybody floated their homes and houses off of Shackelford Core Banks because of hurricanes. They settled in Salter Path. They settled in Marshallburg. They went to what was called the Promised Land, as we know it as Morehead City. So just 20 years before that plat map was made and subdivided the land, people moved their houses off because of hurricanes. Well, guess what happened 20 years after that plat map was made? Another hurricane came and created Barden's Inlet. So the inlet right there at Cape Lookout that we all know and use wasn't there until the early 1930s. So this is a great example of the effects of hurricanes, the coast of North Carolina. And I just wanted to show that to you. If anything, you went, when you saw that Cape Lookout was subdivided. We're going to sell us some houses there at the lighthouse. That's going to be a big old street light. Anyway, fishing report, let's get on to it. Let's head on up to the Outer Banks area, see what's going on. Wave runner out of Wanchese Marina. This is fantastic. I'll show you this picture and got video. They say a mix of tuna, wahoo, king mackerel, and a few alberts. Thanks, guys. See y'all in January for the bluefin season. And the footage of them catching big king mackerel. I told you last week the king blitz has started. Now it's moving on up north. So congratulations to those folks. All right. Fish the Pelican out of Oregon Inlet. A great day today for sailfish. Way to go, crew, and congratulations. Note the 6 flags that are upside down on the boat, and also note the cloudy conditions. We had a viewer send this in. Remember last show we had, I don't remember his name, he was down in the, I think he went out towards the Big Rock. He was sending in his pictures of fish that he caught and all that, and then he sent in a picture of a black sea bass, which was about 2 inches long, and he says, I dare anybody to send in a smaller fish. Well, Jim Krause has. He says, hi, Bill, I caught this one off the Bonner Bridge Pier back in June, my first one ever, no measurement though. He said, I also caught my first red in September. Jim Krause. It's tongue-in-cheek, people are sending in the, hey, if you got pictures of a dinky fish, send it on in. It's you'll be amazed what'll happen. I'll never forget, by the way, one time I caught a trout, a spotted sea trout, a speckled trout. He was only about that big, but he was perfectly shaped. It's just like somebody shrunk a real speckled trout. Anyway, Hatteras Island, Rodanthe Pier. 2 more drum caught and released last night. There's a father and son, Dan and Gavin, Pretty Fish Gavin, a banner evening last night. Robert and Russell with 2 more. Nice drum. Spectacular, Captain Rick Scarborough. He said the wind laid down a little bit and we were able to do a little bit of speckled trout fishing. 10-year-old Weston Gray caught his very first speckled trout ever casting a lure. And his dad, Matt, and grandfather, Mike Gray, also caught a few and some bluefish. The trout fishing's been great up there in the Outer Banks. Sea Dreams video, let's take a look at some sailfish. This is what they're reeling on in, some sailfish. They got it at the side of the boat. You don't pull these things in the boat for a release, and they released it safely on the side of the boat. They said started the day on a grass line with some mahi. We picked at those until we decided to head a little further offshore. We found some birds working and yellowfins busting and made a pass. We hooked 6 tunas with 2 anglers, which makes it tough to land them. 2 got eaten by sharks. And you see, it's always tuna. Always seems to be tuna. We pulled off 2 and caught 2. We had a blue marlin come up in the spread and hit about every bait we had, but couldn't get a hook into it. We did go 1 for 2 in sailfish. They have plenty of meat for the week. That's the charter. And managed a sailfish release citation to top it all off. Congratulations to those guys. Done deal sport fishing. Says fishing changed up a little today. It's been so windy in September. It really has. But anyway, Done Deal Sport Fishing goes on to say yellowfin tuna, blackfin tuna, mahi, and released a sailfish. Looks like that's it till after these storms pass. Still have a few days left in October, and we're taking reservations for the upcoming bluefin tuna season. Now, these guys are starting to talk about bluefin tuna. By November is when they start showing up, and sometimes they show up in gangbusters, and they can show up in shallow water. So be prepared for the big 500-pound plus bluefin tuna. Now, Ocracoke, Trade Winds Bait and Tackle said that Stephen Green caught this 30-inch drum right off of Ocracoke's Ramp 72 on September 26. Ramp 72 is on what they refer to the South Beach. All right, in the central area, Flying Tide Charters video. Watch this. Just watch this.
Woo. Get him up here, boy.
Yeah. And you said I won't never get one, boy.
No, you're kidding.
No, at the house you said I won't ever get one in.
My time's up here. The hook hung up. Is the guy sleeping on him or what? Yeah.
Nope, he's right there.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big daddy there.
Right on my rod.
You got it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bring him around here. Yep. Come out right in the net. The hook did.
That bluefish got off right at the net. And remember, these guys sent us these videos. This is in Atlantic Beach at night. The bluefish are school up at night. They do this time of year. So if you want to head on out, please be safe. All right, a viewer, Blake Scott, says, Bill, love your YouTube videos and decided to share what we caught Saturday out of Bogue Inlet. Conditions were sporty, yeah they were, but ended up getting 2 clients their first wahoo in about 350 feet of water on a Spanish mackerel double hooked on 18-inch piece of wire with BWC jag to fluorocarbon leader behind our planer. Fish were scattered but hungry. The fall wahoo bite is upon us. Now, that's from Blake Scott. Thank you, Blake. Give us the name of your charter next time. But notice he was Spanish mackerel, was the bait. So it's that time of year. Pamlico Pirates fishing charters out of Oriental. They said cloudy but productive today. This crew made their 4th trip this old drum season. I think they're addicted. So do I. And by the way, a little note, Captain Dave with the Pamlico Pirates, he sent me a little message this morning. He said the old drum remain in the system, but most are gone and on the coast. Still some schools in Pamlico and Noosh Rivers. It will be over inside 2 weeks and transition to trout will begin. I'll do Albies near shore first for about 3 weeks myself, then trout. So thank you for that information. And the captain is right. This is an experienced captain. He's talking about these big drum that we've been showing for the past month or so are moving on out. All right, Chasing Tails out of Atlantic Beach. They say not so great weather conditions over the last 2 days, but the fishing was great, and yeah, it was. The river trips had great fishing of the old drum, all caught on corks. Then the ocean trips found nonstop action schooling Spanish mackerels, albies, and bluefish, all caught casting jigs and topwater plugs. And that has been very consistent for the Crystal Coast, Cape Lookout, Beaufort Inlet, Bogue Inlet area for the past maybe even 2 weeks. Breakwater Charters, they said fun day in the rain with these guys. Fish don't mind getting wet, so you can fish in the rain. A little bit of everything off the bottom and on the top. The Bill Collector, if you ever follow the Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament, you're going to hear the name Bill Collector almost every single day. 2 blues, that's not bluefish, blue marlin, and 5 sailfish for Misty and her crew today. Yeah. Emerald Isle Fall. Oh yeah, I didn't even know this tournament was going on. So I'll stop right here. If you got tournament results or upcoming tournaments, send me the information. I'll talk about it here. Again, the only premise of this show is it has to be saltwater related. This show is yours. So give me information and we'll get it on out there. The Emerald Isle Fall Fishing Tournament this past weekend. Listen to this, to the size of the king mackerels and the monies. Wheelin' and Reelin' is the name of the boat that won at 52.73 pounds. They got over $30,000. Hot Grits came in second, 41.35 pounds, just like a pound difference. They got $6,785. And Heavy Hauling with 41.14 pounds, $4,675. Just ounces separates 1 and 2 and 3. It's just, and it even happens during the Big Rock. Was it last year or the year before? I mean, it was just a pound or two in between the first and second place fish there for a while. Down in the southern area, Seaview Pier, look at there. A few spot getting caught tonight. So good, the spot yachts ought to start showing up in the Sound. Sunset Beach Pier, congratulations to Aiden for his 40-inch 19-pound 5-ounce king mackerel. OMC Fishing Adventures, Sneed's Ferry, said it started slow with sharks and small Spanish ripping baits in half. It wasn't until mid-morning the bluefish rod went singing with a beautiful 27.6-pound king. We stuck it out and ended up with another king at 17 pounds and pulled a hook on another. We also found some jumbo Spanish from 4 to 7 pounds. Fish Witch Charters out of Carolina Beach. The guys have been hard at it the last few days, catching Spanish kings, bonitas, mahi, blackfin tuna, sailfish, and bottomfish. Our fishing stays good all winter. Those guys are always catching everything. I think the last time I did the report for them, I said, and they're catching that. Everything. All right, email me, billhitchcock@mail.com, billhitchcock@mail.com. Send me your pictures, your videos of your catches. Doesn't matter if you're a charter boat captain, please send it on in. If you're a peer, if you're a bait and tackle shop, experienced fisherman, first-time fisherman, you may recall it was about 3 weeks ago, a lady had only been fishing 2 months, and she sent in her catch. She got a real nice flounder. So email me, billhitchcock@mail.com. This coming week's going to be sporty. If you want to be a little less polite, it's going to be snotty. The wind's going to blow, so who knows what the fishing is going to be like. But as soon as we get information to get out to you, we'll be glad to do it. Until then, I'm Bill Hitchcock. See ya.